Hello everyone and welcome back. So I got this comment and I was like, sure, why not? So we're gonna make a Hinox, and because I don't like saying Hinox, his name is Fred, but I only need his head. So we're gonna get rid of the body and make his head. And as you would think, Fred's head is filled with aluminum foil, so we're gonna be wrapping a ball of clay around his foil brain. You know, looking at Fred, you would think, yeah, he's pretty simple, just a giant eye and a huge mouth. So it should be pretty fast to make, you know? But no, it wasn't. It took me way longer than I actually wanted it to be, and that's because I don't plan anything out. And when I went into this, I was just like, yeah, straightforward. Big head, big eye, big mouth, done. No. Sometimes I go into things just overly confident, and it ends up biting me in the butt. And if I have to do it over again, that's one too many times and I'm already fed up. In the end, Fred is dead and we have his head. So it's a win-win. So this is the second video in my Zelda monster head series. And the whole reason why I started this was, if you can believe it, I never defeated a Lino before. I don't know what it is about them, they keep getting the best of me. I've defeated Ganon I don't know how many times, all the bosses, everybody, but for some reason after defeating all those bosses and all the little bosses and minions and whatnot, the Lionel, for whatever reason, keeps defeating me. I don't know what it is. I can't do it. So I started this so I can kind of push myself to defeating a Lionel. And I was thinking, oh, it'd be cool once I finally delete. So I was thinking, after I finally deleted a Lionel, it will look really cool if I had its head as a mount on my wall. Because in the game you can have whatever weapon that you wanted, and I wanted that, but I wanted his head to show that I actually accomplished something that ended up taking me years to do. So yeah, that's how I started this series, and so I'm gonna go through all the bosses, defeat them, and then at the very end, hopefully, I will defeat a Lionel. If not before, whichever one comes first. But yeah. So getting back to making Fred's head, I was cutting up some strips of clay and I got quite a ways in, and then I was thinking, why am I doing this? I have something better, something that makes more sense. I have wire. Makes so much more sense. So I just cut the wire to the size that I needed and just shoved it into his chin. And it works out great. It makes sense. Wire is hard. 5 o'clock shadows are hard too. So obviously, it's the right choice, you know? And before I throw his face in the oven, I just texture his skin with a toothbrush to give his skin a more dimpled texture. So for his hair, to make it look a little bit more interesting, I use my cone shaper to drag the clay down to kind of give him like split ends, you know, realism. Okay. Onto his horn, that I didn't realize was just a regular Hinox horn that's wrapped in some wood, but kind of doesn't really make sense when you think about it. Like, why does he need to wrap his horn in the wood? What is he protecting it? Why? It doesn't really make sense. He doesn't really use it to, he doesn't use his horn to like stab at you. So is he protecting it? Is it decoration? That makes more sense. Anyways, I think it's decoration because he goes on to shove spikes that I'm making here into his wood-covered horn. So it's decoration. Oh, he thinks he's fancy. Fred is fancy. Okay. It makes sense because after I shoved the horns into his head, I wrapped some noodles of clay together to make a braided rope. And he has a rope tied in a bow around his horn. So it's decoration. Oh, that's cute. Huh. But yeah, so I'm just gonna tie a little bow like Fred has it after dropping it, and I'm just gonna put that on to the rope, and then his horn is done. Onto his necklace filled with his weapon jewelry. I just make the braided cord the same way that I do the cord around his horn, and then I make his weapons. For the sword shape, I just make a basic sword shape and shape it out on my finger, and then once I bake that, I'll fine tune it a little bit more so it looks more like a sword shape. For the bow, I thought I was being smart here by using some wire and wrapping some clay around it, but that looked stupid and I hated it, so I took that off and just shaped a noodle of clay to look like a bow, and then put a piece of wire on that bow and called it a day. So for his loincloth, I just cut out some triangles of clay and I make some cuts and texture it to make it look well worn. To finish Fred off before his final bake, I build up his neck and it's on to painting. Onto Fred's paint job. I just go in with a dark burgundy base coat and then just slowly build up the colors until I get a nice Fred red. After Fred's skin is all finished, I just go over his ears and eye with some white so I don't have to do like 1,000 coats of paint just to build the color up to hide all of the overbrush. Now I'm going in to make sure that his teeth have the perfect amount of tooth decay, because Fred's not brushing his teeth. He's got 2 left, so I mean, what does he have left to lose? And one of my favorite parts of Fred is his blue tongue. It looks great. Alright, going into his hair, just going in with the white. It's going to take a minute, so come right back and have a base coat ready for you. And all I'm doing now is just adding some shading to the hair and then go back on top of it with pure white dry brushing. Let me know what Zelda monster you guys want me to make in the comments. On to painting Fred's horn. The amount of times that I went over this rope with yellow is ridiculous. Painting with yellow is a pain, but I got there. For Fred's eye, I was pretty excited to do this. It looked pretty simple and I just really wanted to paint his eye. So the thing is, I don't like mixing colors. I really don't. I can do it. I can do it well enough. So it's not like I can't do it, I just don't like to do it. But for whatever reason, I have the hardest time mixing purple. I don't know what it is about purple. I can make a desaturated purple, but this bright purple that I'm using here took me way too long. Eventually I gave up and just used the tube of purple that I have because I know I can't mix purple to save my life. But most aggravating thing, making this color. Still couldn't make it. This is why I don't mix colors. It takes too long. It's a whole lot easier just having the color that I need and just squirting it out and painting it on. Way more preferable. So with his eye, I thought I almost messed this part up, and I was scared that I would have to go back and fix it, but no, it worked out, especially when I put in his slitted pupil. So to finish off Fred's head, I just need to paint the little hairs on the top of his head and his stubble with the bright white. So for the swords, I just use my X-Acto blade and just gouge out some nicks and cuts to make it look more sword-like. And for painting, I just go in with the gray and just speckle on some black for both swords. The bow gets a coat of brown, and for his rope necklace, it gets a yellow-brown coat of paint. His loincloths, I go in and try and texture it to kind of look a little furry, and then I just add some stains to make it look really well worn. For the plaque, I need to make this wood look like nicer wood. And to do that, I just mix together different shades of brown with a little bit of orange, yellow, and some white, and just blending that until it looks like a better wooden plaque. For his nameplate, because Fred's gonna need one, I just tint a piece of paper with some yellow ochre and dabbing the excess off with my finger, and then just aging the sides a little bit more. And at the very bottom, I just write in Fred's name. And then we're done. Time to assemble. Putting it together, I just use some glue and just stick it on. And then I go over with some gloss varnish on his tongue and eye, and we're finished. Let's look at the final results. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I hope you all enjoyed this just as much as I did creating this. Let me know what you all think in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon. Bye!